Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. Today we are looking at the readiness practice for area of a rectangle. This is standard 3.6c. We are looking at the intermediate version. If you are interested in exploring the 3.6c resources aligned to the proficient or advanced versions, or for readiness resources that are aligned with any other standard, you can find them by using the link in the video description. So we're starting off with Sarah making a quilt. She's going to use square patches, and her quilt is going to be 4 inches wide and 8 inches long. So we need to figure out how many square patches she needs. Well, each square patch is going to be 1 inch by 1 inch. So what we can do is we can take the length and width, we can draw that many squares across. So if I wanted to draw a row here, let's draw a row, and let's say I've got square patches, and I'm going to have, let's pretend those are all squares, and I've got 4 of them. And I can say this is 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and then 1 inch. So then overall, what I can say is I've got 4 inches, and that's going to be my width, and it's going to go from side to side. Now what I need to do is I need to draw square patches so that it is 8 inches long. So I'm going to need to extend this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw it down like this. I'm going to draw these lines down because I've already got my columns. Basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to draw rows so that I have a total of 8 rows, and that's going to help me count. Now, you don't have to draw a representation. There's a much easier way to solve this, and I'll show you that in a moment, but let's use the representation first. So I've got 1 row, I've got 2 rows, got 3 rows, 4 rows, 5 rows, 6 rows. Let's extend this down here. If I do this, this should give me 7 rows. Right down the very bottom, that should give me 8 rows. So let's count to verify that I have enough rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so these are all 8 inches. I don't need to write 8 or 1 inches 8 times. So I'm going to do this, and I'll just say 8 inches. Now this is my quilt. So if I want to, I literally could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If I realize the pattern, I'm skip counting by fours, I can just put a number at the end: 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. So that's going to get me my answer, 32. But hopefully we notice this is an array. When we are finding the area of a quilt, if we're using square patches, right, we can look at the length times the width. So 4 times 8 equals 32, and we're dealing with square patches, so we can say she will need 32 square patches. So when we're dealing with area, we can think of an array, and if we can think of an array, then we can look at our length and our width, multiply the two, and we will get our answer. So now we need to draw 2 arrays with an area of 36 inches. All right, so I need to be thinking what times what equals 36. And let's do that again. What times what? Well, the first fact I always think of is 6 times 6. All right, so I can draw a 6 times 6 array. And I always want to try to make it kind of even. So let's see. If I do this, what I find with sixths is if you take thirds and you cut each third in half, you get sixths. And that's just something I've learned from fractions. So I've got my thirds, So I've got my 6 rows. All right, so there's my thirds. Then I'm going to take each third, cut it in half, and I'm going to have 36. Let's do the same thing to verify. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. All right, so I've done 6 times 6. If I flipped the two factors, it would still be 6 times 6, so that's the same array. I don't want to do that same one. I could do 4 times 9. There are other options. You could do 2 times 18. You could do it 1 times 36 if you really wanted to. So that would be very long and skinny. All right, so let's do a 4 times 9. So it's not going to be as wide. I knew my 6 times 6 was going to be a square because I'm using the same factors. 4 times 9 is going to be a lot longer. So I'm going to extend it down a little bit. I don't think it needs to be that wide. There we go. Trying to make the squares proportional. All right, so that's close enough. Let's do this. So my 4, I'm going to cut it in half. Then I'm going to cut each half in half. That's going to give me my 4. And really, this is 4 times 9 or 9 times 4. You can kind of flip those. If I were to turn this and rotate it, it would be long and wide. Ends up being the same thing. So for my ninths, those are hard. So what I want to do is I want to see if I can break it up into thirds again. And then what you need to do is you need to break up each third into thirds. 3 times 3 makes 9. So I had 3 pieces. Then I had 3 sets of 3 pieces, and that's going to give me 9 pieces. That's the easiest way to get to ninths. All right, so let's verify. I've got 4. I've got 8, counting by 4s, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. There's my 36. These are not the only answers, so I will say arrays may vary. What you are looking for is you are looking for an array. That's a rectangle that is cut up into equal squares that has 36 total squares. I just chose 6 times 6 and 4 times 9. You can choose different ones. All right, so for our third problem, we have a farmer planting a rectangular field with corn and another rectangular field with wheat. Each seed will be 1 by 1. Okay, so looks like we're dealing with area again. The cornfield will have 5 rows with 4 square patches. Then the wheat field is going to have something different. Okay, so let's start with the corn. I'm going to make my corn, let's make it light purple. What do I know about my corn? 5 rows, 4 square spaces in each row. Okay, so I'm going to do something like this. It's not quite a rectangle because I've only got 4 columns. And then I've got 5 rows. Now fifths are kind of hard, so we're just going to kind of eyeball them. And if I want fifths, I need to draw 4 lines. All right, so let's pretend those are 4 equal. That's going to end up getting me what I'm wanting, right? That is my 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. I'm going to call this my cornfield. Okay, so what is the area of each field? Well, my area is 20. So 20, I'm going to put that up here, 20, and then these are actually square meters because the story tells us it is 1 meter by 1 meter square. So that's one field. Now I need another field, and we'll do that in this green. This is my wheat field, 2 rows. Wow, but 9 square spaces. Okay, So I'm going to put that down here so I have a little bit of room because there's only 2 rows, but it's going to be pretty long. All right, so the 2 rows are pretty easy. Now, for my 9 square spaces, I'm going to do what I did last time. I'm going to cut my array into thirds, and then cut each third into third, and then there we go. So I've got 2 sets of 9, so that's going to be an easy 9, 18. And so this is my wheat field. In my wheat field, it's going to have 18 square meters. So we can put that there, 18 square meters. So that's the question. What is the area of each field? Well, I've got 20 square meters in my cornfield, and I've got 18 square meters in my wheat field. So if you wanted to, you didn't necessarily need to draw the arrays. Remember what we were talking about earlier? If you have 5 rows of 4, that's 5 times 4 equals 20. And if you have 2 rows of 9, you can have 2 times 9 equals 18. So there are ways to draw it with arrays, ways to draw it without arrays. If you are interested in looking at the 3.6C readiness practice for either the advanced or the proficient versions, or for any of the other readiness practice resources aligned with other standards, you can find them by using the link in the video description.